on behalf, being the first member of the media to officially say congratulations, congratulations.
And thank you to you, because you guys have been working with us through the last 38 days, and you know, you work very hard, and I just want to thank you too.
Well, thank you very much.
All right.
And there you go. The newly elected Premier of Ontario, Kathleen Wynne, first speaking to CBC News here, and a big night for the Ontario Liberals tonight. Thank you very much.
Ontario's Liberal Premier thanking the CBC for working with her during the election campaign. That was sent in by an NDP supporter that captured it. Figured that, like me, he has no doubt CBC was actually campaigning for Wynne's Liberals. Do you know that Wynne couldn't even look at our own reporter, Paige McPherson, for most of the campaign? She loved CBC, but couldn't look at our people. Our reporters on all the campaigns received accolades from our competitors for being tough but fair with all the parties. But Wynne had her favorites. There's a lot of talk about CBC these days due to budget cuts and the loss of hockey, the loss of jobs. But truth be told, CBC is like every other media outlet, minus the $1 billion per year subsidy from us taxpayers. Every media outlet is trying to figure out how to survive in the new digital age. But some people don't think CBC should have to deal with that reality. And they were out. Tens of them were out to protest yesterday at CBC's headquarters in Ottawa. That's just 2 doors down from my office here in the nation's capital. And when I heard the commotion, I went out to see what was going on. Oddly, there were lots of CBC supporters, but not many actual CBC employees.
I'm very concerned about our loss of our public broadcaster. I feel that this is the one area where we have our culture protected and our truth in knowing what's going on with our government and with Canada and with the world protected as well. And I feel that it's a mistake on Harper's agenda that this should be cut off.
Harper's agenda. We heard a lot about that from speakers at the rally. We'll get into that in a moment. But what was fascinating were all the union leaders and members from other unions that were there. There were reps from teachers' unions, from CUPE, ACTRA, Unifor, other unions as well. Sean McKenney with the Ottawa District Labour Council was there. He represents a lot of union members in the skilled trades, the people that build things, that work in factories, the kind of work that CBC hates and attacks in its reporting. So why support those that fight against you?
It's about ensuring that there's a public broadcasting system in place, and I think this is opportunity for unions and the members of those unions to step forward and say, you know what, we know that it's not always fair to us, but we do know that for the most part the reporting is balanced again for the most part, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, they attack his workers and their projects, and he supports them anyway. Why? It's the fusion of the left. While I don't get why McKenney was there, I understand why an actual CBC employee might show up. Nicholas Slade is one of the few that I could find.
I came out to the rally because I'm a new employee here. Actually, I've only been working here for maybe 8 months, and the fact that I could already be losing my job because they want to increase the amount of cuts, I can't stand for it. I need to make sure that, you know, not just me, but everybody is able to stay in a job that they love.
Look, I get wanting to protect your own job, but just because you love a job doesn't mean you should get to keep it and that the rest of us should subsidize that job. But that's what CBC and the people that are there want. Mostly, though, this was a bunch of union activists supporting other union activists. You know how CBC likes to claim to be unbiased. Well, listen to how the crowd reacted when CUPE President Paul Moist, well, he issued a call to fire Harper and hire Mulcair.
Lastly, it's not just about defeating Harper. The only real option to Harper is the man we're meeting with tomorrow. I stand with Tom Mulcair and the NDP. They believe in Radio Canada. They believe in CBC. The only way to defeat Harper is to elect Tom Mulcair as the next Prime Minister of Canada.
Did you hear the cheering there? Now, in fairness, that's not the union that represents CBC's journalists, although that union was there, and they organized the event.
As a union that represents media workers, the Canadian Media Guild is nonpartisan. We don't support any political party. We don't give money to any political party. We don't volunteer for any political party. We do, on occasion, fight an issue. If any party comes up with an issue that affects media workers, we will be public and speak out about that particular issue. There may be some folks here sharing their views in politics, but it didn't come from the Canadian Media Guild. We work with every party and any party that can try to advance the cause of a free and strong and independent media.
Look, I feel for Carmel Smith. I've watched lots of people get laid off in this business, in the private sector mostly, but also at CBC. It's never good. But no job is guaranteed for life. No job should be guaranteed for life. CBC has to deal with fiscal reality, even if the union isn't ready for it. What they want is more money, more of your money.
What we're looking for here is some leadership and finding a way to go forward and finding a way to prove to Canadians the value of public broadcasting. There's a reason why every developed country has a public broadcaster.
The U.S. has one that costs less, though.
I guess I was thinking of models that we admire, like the BBC, like Deutsche Welle, like ABC in Australia. There's just many, many models that are still workable and still providing valuable service.
Oh, the reflexive anti-Americanism. You hear that? She doesn't admire PBS. Frankly, I'm more likely to watch PBS than CBC if I'm looking for quality programming. And as far as looking for good dramas, I might look to Netflix before CBC. The world's changing for all of us. Job losses stink, but going back to the good old days at CBC where no one ever lost their jobs and Canadians paid through the nose for subpar programming, well, those days aren't coming back. CBCers, they're living in a dream world. It's time for them to wake up to reality.